What's up everyone, this is Primetime Productions, and today I will be discussing the 5 fastest players of NFL Combine history and how their careers turned out. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, because if the feedback is good, I will continue making videos like this, and I'll buy an actual mic so that the sound quality will be much better for future videos. Before I start though, I want to point out that I am basing this video off of official electronic times from the Combine, so unfortunately players such as Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders will not be a part of this video. 2 players are tied as the 5th and 4th fastest players in Combine history, both with a 4.26 40-yard dash. I will be discussing Dri Archer first, since his time was more recent. Dri Archer played college football for Kent State, where he was mainly utilized as a returner and backup running back his first 2 seasons, before being ruled ineligible for the 2011 season due to academic reasons. He then had a much larger impact as a starting running back his last 2 seasons, where he earned first-team All-MAC and consensus All-American honors as an all-purpose back and kick returner. He finished his college career with a total of 4,972 all-purpose yards before declaring for the 2014 NFL Draft. Dri Archer wowed at the NFL Combine with a 4.26 40-yard dash and was projected to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick, which held true at the draft, where he ended up being selected in the 3rd round as the 97th overall pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the preseason, Dri Archer made several big plays, such as a 46-yard reception against the Giants and a 40-yard reception against the Bills, which led many to have high hopes for him for the upcoming season. Once the season started though, Dri Archer was sparingly used and did not see much playing time at all. In fact, after starting running back Le'Veon Bell was injured for the playoffs, the Steelers decided to sign Ben Tate, a mediocre at best player, instead of relying on Archer. Dri Archer's only touchdown of the year, which actually happened to be in the wildcard game, ended up being called back due to offensive holding. Overall, he finished his rookie year with a measly 40 rushing yards, 23 receiving yards, and 163 return yards. In the 2015 season, Dri Archer was not used as a running back or a receiver, but he was used as a kick returner. Even though he averaged an acceptable 25.3 yards per return, he struggled to put up any big numbers or touchdowns, with his longest return being only 38 yards, which consequently led him to be released after week 8. Dri Archer then signed with the Jets, but was released very soon after. He was claimed off waivers by the Bills, but failed to even show up, which marked the end of his short tenure in the NFL, unless he makes a comeback anytime soon. Overall, while Dri Archer did have impressive speed, he neither had the strength, size, nor vision to succeed in the league. Jerome Mathis, the other player who ran a 4.26, played college football for Hampton University, where he was a wide receiver and kick returner. He averaged a touchdown every 4.4 receptions, had 6 kick return touchdowns, and had 4,541 all-purpose yards in just 35 games. Jerome Mathis declared for the 2005 NFL Draft, where he was drafted in the 4th round as the 114th overall pick by the Houston Texans. As a rookie, he immediately made an impact as a kick returner, with 54 returns for 1,542 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging 28.6 yards per return. He also had 1 receiving touchdown. Because of his performance as a kick returner, Jerome Mathis was selected to the 2006 Pro Bowl as the starting kick returner for the AFC and also made the All-Pro first team. During the Pro Bowl, however, Mathis fractured his left foot, which wasn't discovered until months later. He ended up missing 6 months because of this and only played in 2 games of the 2006 NFL season. He then only played 3 games in 2007, after which the Texans declined to offer him another contract. Mathis then signed with the Redskins, but was released after a short amount of time. Afterwards, he spent time playing in both the CFL and the AFL before his career ended. While his injury undoubtedly played a large role in Jerome Mathis's lack of success in the NFL following his rookie year, his character and off-field problems also contributed to the unwillingness of teams to offer him another chance. This included being cited for loose pit bulls, punching teammate Marcellus Rivers, and being accused of punching his pregnant girlfriend. Therefore, Jerome Mathis certainly had the potential to prosper in the league, as highlighted by his stellar rookie season, but several factors led to this potential never being realized. Another 2 players are tied as the 3rd and 2nd fastest players in Combine history, both with a 4.24 40-yard dash. I will be discussing Chris Johnson first, since his time was more recent. Chris Johnson, otherwise known as CJ2K, is unquestionably the most notable of all of these players. He played college football for East Carolina University, where he excelled at both kick returner and running back. He was selected as an All-Conference USA first-team return specialist and second-team running back. He finished his college career with a total of 6,993 all-purpose yards before entering the 2008 NFL Draft. Before the Combine, Chris Johnson was projected to be a second to third round pick, but after running a 4.24, he ended up being drafted in the first round as the 24th overall pick by the Tennessee Titans. Chris Johnson played extremely well his rookie season and finished the season with over 1,200 rushing yards and had 10 total touchdowns. He was second in Rookie of the Year voting and was elected to the Pro Bowl. The next season was when the nickname CJ2K was born. Chris Johnson had an absolute monster of a year, with performances that included 197 rushing yards against the Texans and 228 rushing yards against the Jags. He became one of 7 players to ever rush for 2,000 yards in a single season, and he broke Marshall Faulk's record for most scrimmage yards in a season.
And he's got it. Chris Johnson is now a member of the 2,000-yard rushing club. He joins an elite group of running backs.
To nobody's surprise, he was named the NFL Offensive Player of the Year and was elected to his second Pro Bowl. While not as impressive as his 2,000-yard season, Chris Johnson again put up respectable numbers in his third season, with 1,364 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns. He was selected to his third and last Pro Bowl. Chris Johnson rushed for 3 more 1,000-yard seasons before being released by the Titans. He then signed with the Jets for the 2014 season, but finished with only 663 yards and 1 touchdown. For the 2015 season, Chris Johnson signed with the Cardinals and looked much better than he did with the Jets, with several 100-yard rushing games. In the Week 12 game against the 49ers, though, he fractured his tibia, which ended his season. Chris Johnson continued to be plagued with injuries the next 2 years with the Cardinals before finally signing a one-day contract and retiring as a Titan. While not quite at the Hall of Fame level, Chris Johnson still had a remarkable career, and his 2,000-yard season will go down as one of the best ever. The other player to run a 4.24 is the one you see in the thumbnail, wide receiver Rondel Menendez. Rondel Menendez played college football for Eastern Kentucky University, where he had a mediocre first 2 seasons, but managed to finish strong his last 2 years, with consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, including a school record 280 receiving yards in 1 game. Menendez ran a 4.24 40-yard dash in the 1999 NFL Combine, the first NFL Combine with electronic timing for the 40-yard dash. He actually ran a 4.19 on his first attempt, but he had to run it again because officials believed he was wearing track shoes. Rondel Menendez was drafted in the 7th round as the 247th overall pick by the Atlanta Falcons. In his rookie year preseason, Menendez showed that he was a competent punt returner and as a result was essentially a lock for one of 53 roster spots. In the final preseason game against the Bengals, Menendez wasn't getting any playing time, so he asked the coach to put him in. Keep in mind that at this point, he didn't really need to prove himself as the coaches did not plan on cutting him. The coach finally gave in to Menendez's request and let him return a punt. This decision will cost him his career. As he was positioning himself to haul in the punt, a Bengals player hit Menendez's knee. Menendez tore his meniscus and the Falcons cut him. He spent a brief amount of time on the rosters of the Dolphins, Colts, Redskins, and Eagles, but he never felt the same after the injury, and no team would take the chances on playing him. His mother also became sick around this time, so Menendez took some time off to take care of her. When he returned, Menendez joined NFL Europe, but felt so out of shape that he decided to officially retire and dash any hope of a comeback. One can only wonder how his career would have turned out if he had decided to sit out the preseason game instead of asking to play. I'm sure most of you know the fastest player of NFL Combine history. If you don't, well, it's wide receiver John Ross with a 4.22. John Ross played college football for the University of Washington. In his first 2 years, he played as a receiver, kick returner, and cornerback. He then missed his third season due to a torn ACL, but he came back the next season to accumulate 1,122 receiving yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. He was named second-team All-American honors and first-team All-Pac-12. Ross forewent his senior season to declare for the 2017 NFL Draft. John Ross was projected to be a first-round pick, and this held true at the draft, as he was selected in the first round, 9th overall, by the Cincinnati Bengals. In the preseason, John Ross was able to show his speed and make several flashy plays, but on his first touch in the regular season, he fumbled the ball. Unlike fellow rookie Kareem Hunt, who also fumbled on his first carry, John Ross was benched for the rest of the season, even when he wasn't injured. During his second season, John Ross was able to effectively contribute to the Bengals offense. Even though he only amassed 210 receiving yards, Ross developed into a legitimate scoring threat, catching 7 touchdowns and scoring on 1 out of every 3 receptions. John Ross has clearly improved from his rookie year, and the Bengals have began to rely on him more and more. Now on the hinge of his 3rd season, John Ross has nowhere to go but up. With AJ Green expected to miss several weeks due to injury, John Ross is poised to have a much bigger role and could potentially put up staggering numbers this coming season. Personally, I am excited to see how John Ross will thrive under a new system, and I hope the Bengals will properly utilize Ross's skill set.